Okay, so this is what I call the town crier paradigm. So I want you to imagine a king and a queen and a castle and, you know, years ago, and usually the population was illiterate. You know, nobody knew how to read and write. And so what would happen is you would have this person that would come out, and it was called the town crier. And they would read the decrees of the king and queen to the people. Now, what most people don't understand is that when you think about it, there was this big, huge kingdom. And so to get those messages out, they didn't just have like one town crier, they had a lot. And so they could go way out here to the far reaches of the kingdom, to over here, to everywhere, you know, and you got to think about, you know, this is pretty much a big media thing that they did. So here's the trick that you don't really know that I'm going to explain to you. So what they would do is they would go out to these settlements and these villages, and they would pick a child and bring them back to the castle, and they would train them to read and write. Now that's a big deal. That is a huge, huge deal. Because I want you to think, that wasn't, you know, that wasn't ordinary. Could you imagine how proud the parents would be that their child was picked? So I want you to think about this. Let's just say that somebody in your community, MIT came and they picked one child, underprivileged child probably, free scholarship to MIT. Doesn't matter if he passed classes or anything like that. They were going to take him to MIT and they were going to train them the best that they could. Could you imagine how proud the parents would be that their child was picked? Same thing, right? So the reason they did that, and this was a revolving thing. You know, you got to think about a kingdom that lasted 100 years or 500 years or something like that. So they would already have a town crier that come out that would be part of the village, and then they would pick somebody else, train them, and it would just recycle. So the reason they did that, the main reason they did that, is because when that message came from someone that had inside information, someone they knew, someone they trusted, that message was beholden more within the community. And so when that town crier went out, he wouldn't just ride out on his horse all by himself. He would have a bunch of guards with him, you know, to make sure that nobody, you know, did any harm to him or anything like that. Could you imagine being the one person that wanted to speak out against the town crier? What would they do to you? Right? So, they really smart folks back in those days and these days. And so, you got to think about the whole kingdom, and they're delivering the message to the people. And that message could have been, you know, oh, the Christians got to kill the Muslims. Oh, the Muslims got to kill the Christians. Oh, the Goths are coming, or something like this or something like that. Always something, right? Always something in the news, right? Always something to keep you preoccupied. And so that's the main trick that they used, is because that message became more personable to the people in that area. All right? So let's move forward to today. So right now, we know, it has been said, I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe it will. Trump said something about they were going to build CDC teams, and they were going to move them out to every school and every town all over the United States to train people whatever they wanted to say. Guess who they're going to pick? People from the town, right? People from that area. And they're going to train them to say what? Whatever it is they need to say. And you're going to listen to that message because it's going to be more believable because of why? Because they're from that area. And you should trust them because they have inside information or something like that or what have you. Now, I've always said, you know, considering that I've understood that this was going to be a pretty big deal. I understood that the elite were going to try to exterminate us many years ago. Part of that plan, not just with this virus, but part of the plan was to take your animals and your farms away from you, because you have to be relying on the big corporations because they're all in it together, right? They're all in it together. So your animals have to have a virus. They have to be sick. They have to be exterminated. They have to be gone. So what they're going to do is they're going to take some kid from some cow college, and he's going to get in the agricultural state department or whatever they call it. They're going to come to your house, and they're going to test your animals, and they're going to say, oh, your animals have the virus. They have the disease. They have to be euthanized. All of them. All your goats, all your chickens, your 50 head, your 100 head, whatever you got. They have to be euthanized. It's already been done. It was done in Europe many years ago over a virus lie. Already been done. And so that little kid that's going to come from whatever cow college to test your animals, guess what he's going to have with him? He's going to have guards with him. Right? Guess what you're going to do? You're going to comply. And so what they're going to say, what these people are going to say, from the trained CDC people to this little kid that they're going to use, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, I'm just doing my job. And so guess what? You can't let them get away with saying that they're just doing their job, because they're not doing their job. They're doing a job for someone else. They're not doing their job. It's not their job. They're doing a job. When you hire the mafia to do a job, they're doing a job. Okay? They're not doing their job. They're doing a job for somebody else. And so when you go to work for the CDC, when you go to work for some very bad people, you're not doing your job. You're doing a job for some very bad people. And that makes you a very bad person. So I want you to think, if you work at Microsoft right now, you're no better than Bill Gates, because you're doing a job to help with a bigger plan that is very bad for everyone else on this whole earth. You are a very bad person for doing your job or a job for someone else. You don't let anyone get away with the excuse that they're just doing their job, because that is nothing more than a lie. It is nothing more than a scam, just like it is for them picking people out of their own community to do a job for them. Okay? Thank you.